to the first of the Officials podcast for the Officials for Real Referees, Real People. Our guest today, our first guest, is the Level 4 F.A CORE Worcestershire FA match official, Mikey Wright. Mikey, how you doing, mate?
Evening, Harley. Very well, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm really, really good. I'm delighted to have you on. I'm really excited to be speaking with you. For those of us who are watching this on Facebook, there's going to be some photos popping up across Mikey's career. Some of them are quite funny. Some of them are of his achievements and all that. So it'd be really good to see. But Mikey, first of all then, obviously, why take up refereeing? What got you into refereeing?
So kind of went, I wouldn't say full circle, but, been involved with football, from quite a young age. Started playing when I was 6 and ended up kind of, getting into academy level football. I was at Warsaw for a big bulk of my younger days. I was there from the age of 9 to 17, and then ended up kind of moving on. I spent a year at West Brom, and then ended up at Worcester City. But kind of fell out of love with the game, if I'm being honest. At the age of around 20, 21. Travelling up and down the country on a Saturday, when you're not in the side isn't much fun. So I did lose a lot of motivation, determination from once wanting to be a professional footballer, to sitting in a cold stand in the middle of nowhere, essentially, on a Saturday. It was quite a drastic fall, if I'm being honest. And like I say, I just really ended up falling out of love with the game. Then I kind of picked football back up in a coaching sense a few years later. So I ended up coaching a disability men's football team based in Redditch. And really, the kind of refereeing side of things really initially progressed from there, I guess. We was at one of our annual summer tournaments. I literally got chatting to one of the referees that was officiating one of our games. It was a very informal chat, really, just kind of asking him how he got into refereeing, what his experiences were. And I was really kind of like, I was really taking on board what he was saying, and it was something that I was really interested in, and wanted to look to get into. So following on from that conversation that I had with this referee, I booked on to the next available referees course in Worcester, and yeah, the rest is sort of history, I guess.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It sounds like you're almost a jack of all trades. Obviously, you were clearly a very talented footballer in your day. You've obviously had great success with coaching, and I mean, as we're about to get onto, your refereeing careers go really, really well in the short time that you've been involved in it. Following on from that, obviously, your refereeing career, I've known you, I believe, about 2 years now, and I believe many people have known you for a similar, if not a little bit longer time frame. I tend to find, and I'm sure many people agree, when Mikey Wright comes up in conversation, it's always positive. You're really liked. You're very well respected. I personally, I think you're an absolutely fantastic bloke. You're a lovely friend. I speak with lots of clubs, other match officials, and know it's difficult to get that balance, but you've definitely got it. And on that, obviously, your refereeing career so far, starting it a few years ago now, and obviously being in your position now as a level 4, as an FA CORE match official, what's your career journey been like in that sense?
Yeah, so I mean, refereeing wise, I'd probably still class myself as quite inexperienced, to be honest. I passed my course in November 2017. So, it's been roughly 3.5 years since I've effectively been qualified. So yeah, it's been quite a quick learning journey, really, so far. So, did my first promotion year in my first full season was level 7 to level 6, which was a great introduction, really. As you know, it kind of sets the foundations, really. And then second full season, the initial aim was to go 6 to 5, but I ended up being offered the opportunity to do the double jump, 6 to 4, which again was, it was hard work in the sense of trying to get games and observations in. I was quite fortunate in a way that my final level 4 observation fell the week before the first COVID lockdown. So I was able to get all those observations in just before COVID hit us. So yeah, it's been, I don't want to use the term a roller coaster, but it's certainly been.
It's come at you fast, hasn't it?
Yeah, a lot's happened. Yeah, a lot's happened in a short space of time, and I don't think I fully appreciate that as much as I probably should do at times. And obviously, kind of in the middle of that, being invited into the FA CORE program was, something I was absolutely thrilled to have the opportunity to do. And I think that's really developed me as a referee, being involved in that program as well.
No, fantastic. And FA CORE, we will get onto it. It is a fantastic program, obviously for officials across the nation, across the levels. Just quickly, obviously on your double jump, the level 6 to 4, how did you find that? Because obviously, as a level 7, it's the typical Sunday league, running the line. I suppose for yourself, it would have been running the line at step 7 and step 8 fixtures, and then to do that jump to obviously in the middle of the MFL Premier Division, running the line in the Evo Stick Leagues. How was that quick jump for you?
Yeah, so effectively a promotion marking season, as you know, Harley, is was back then March to the end of February. So by the time September rolled round, I got all my observations in for level 5. I only needed 3. So they were all done and dusted by September. And then, like I say, me and Ollie Williams had a conversation about, whether it was feasible to then go from 5 to 4 in the remaining time. And I was more than willing to, have a go at it. I thought I was good enough, based on, own reflections of my performances, but also the feedback that I was getting from observers and colleagues alike. So from that September, October sort of period, it was then a case of getting in another 5 observations in effectively the space of 4 months, but also trying to get the amount of games in as well, which wasn't a problem as such, because I was refereeing most weekends, Saturdays, Sundays, the odd midweek here and there. So games wise wasn't really an issue. But going from 5 to 4, the expectation is that bit much higher. So it was a case of trying to establish myself as effectively a level 5 referee, but then trying to enhance my skills and my refereeing to get to that next level. And like I mentioned just previously, I was quite fortunate in the sense that my 5th and final observation for level 4 was literally the week before COVID struck. So
just about a year ago, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was like March the 7th or something like that. So it was literally like a week or so before the country locked down. So yeah, my marks were good. Fitness was there. Laws of the game exam was all ticked off. So yeah, it was quite a busy year, but obviously, I was delighted to get that confirmation in the end of doing 6 to 4.
And it was fully deserved. I obviously knowing you during that time, I know how hard you worked. It was really deserved. You were in a position whereby, I know it sounds cliche, but you're good enough. It's one of them. Good enough, you get the promotion, and I thought you fully deserved it, and I'm sure many people would agree. But you worked hard at it, and you achieved it. And I've just seen on the screen a few photos pop up, obviously the Premier League badge, the game at St George's Park, which sort of brings me on to FA CORE. You've been in FA CORE, I believe it's your 2nd season now, isn't it?
Yeah. So this is
Yeah, so FA Core, I myself, I find the development, I find it really beneficial, really helpful, really enjoyable. It's lovely to speak with referees, to speak with core coaches. Obviously, your experience has been a little bit longer than mine, and therefore it's been a little bit different. Obviously, you've been able to do the Premier League tournament, you've been able to do the game at St George's Park. How have you found FA Core's impacted your career over the past 2 seasons?
I think it's been massive. You just firstly from the knowledge and experience of the people that you're working with. As you know, Harley, you're working with ex and current Football League officials, and their kind of input has been invaluable most of the time, if not all the time. Having the facility of St George's Park to go to for training is just incredible. It's a great place to learn and develop, and also having a one-to-one performance coach to kind of go through things with. We all have good and bad games, and when it's not going so well, that's when I found the kind of impact of core the most, really, to kind of discuss with my coach, what hasn't probably gone quite to plan, and what we can do together as a team to put it right in the next game. Because again, cliche, but you're only as good as your last game. But no, in terms of your overall question, there's no doubt in my mind that being part of the FA Core program has been a massive kind of reason that I've been able to progress so far the way I have.
No, fantastic. It is, like you say, it's not just about the refereeing on the pitch, it's the people. I'm sure you'll agree, obviously, the FA Core coaches, the development officers, all the people there. Yes, obviously, we all benefit massively from the referees around us, but having those referees and those experiences and those people in core, it does allow you to sort of have that next little step. And obviously, you've benefited from that. And I know that many people have. And then looking, obviously, you're currently level 4, you're currently in FA Core. Obviously, by the looks of things, this season's pretty much done and dusted. But what is next for Mr. Mikey Wright? What's the plan? What's the dream? What's the goal?
Ultimately, my main aim at the start of this season, when I sat down with my coach, was to, we kind of split this season up into 3 parts, really. And, albeit it hasn't gone to plan for reasons out of our control. But I think very much from August or whenever football starts up again, it'll be a case of, establishing myself at this level, because it is a step up. It's better quality football, better quality players, better grounds as well. So a lot of these players are getting paid decent money at this level. So, they're expecting a certain level of calibre as such. So I think very much the focus for me next season will be to firmly establish myself as a level 4 referee. Obviously promotion's the overall aim. I do want to progress. I still feel I'm young enough. Even though I'd say one of my regrets was possibly not picking up the whistle 2, 3, 4 years earlier. But I'd like to say that I'd like to think that I'm still young enough to make a decent career out of officiating. But no, ultimately, I personally want to go as far as I can in the game. I do trust my ability, and I don't mean that in an arrogant way, because, as you know, I'm not that type of person at all. I am confident that I can make the next step.
You've got the mix of confidence yet humbleness, if you understand what I mean.
I'd like to think so. I've never come across as an arrogant or cocky type. I never was when I was playing, when I was coaching, or obviously now when I'm officiating. Feet are well and truly on the ground. They always will be, and I think that helps with having good people around you, a solid family base, colleagues like yourself, Harley, to kind of bounce things off. but yeah, like I say, ultimately, you know, everyone's aim is going to be to get promoted and make that next step. And if that happens next season, brilliant. If it doesn't, then it's another year's worth of experience behind me. Like I say, I'd still class myself as a relatively inexperienced referee. So yeah, we'll see where we get. We'll see where the road leads to.
You know, I mean, hopefully, obviously, you know, speaking as a friend and then speaking as a fellow match official, obviously, we all hope and wish the best for you. And you're right, you know, you want to progress, but at the same time, you know, going up every single season, sometimes you want the opportunity to learn and to sort of become established as such at the level that you're at.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, you're more than capable of that. Obviously, what we'll do is we'll end our podcast and we're going to end all of these with some quick fire questions. So I've got 5 questions for you. Don't think about it too much. Just fly an answer at me, and it'll be quite interesting to see what you say. So, first question: what is your favourite game that you've officiated so far?
I'm going to be cheeky, and I'm going to pick 2 if that's okay.
So started off bad.
First one would be Worcester Raiders versus Droitwich Spa, and second would be England under-15s versus the Republic of Ireland under-15s.
Yeah, difficult not to pick the England under-15s game, is it, at St George's Park? It's an experience that will be there probably for the rest of your career, won't it?
Absolutely, incredible experience. You know, potentially there's the stars of the future there. I only realised after that game that I'd actually officiated Jude Bellingham's little brother.
Yeah, Josie, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realise that at the time, and Jude was actually there watching him in that game. So that was quite interesting to see on social media afterwards. I know it's quick fire, and I do apologise for waffling, but the reason
I asked you a question because you can carry on.
The reason I picked the first game, the Worcester Raiders Droitwich Spa one, was I was a level 7 at the time. It was my first full season officiating, and at the time, Worcester and Droitwich were first and second, or first and third.
That's the biggest game you could probably get at that level at the time.
Absolutely, and I think effectively you're looking at that, and it's quite possibly a level 5/level 4 game.
Yeah.
You know, there's a massive kind of build up to that game in the week prior to kick off. You know, it was all in the media about how it was a kind of crunch game, and I think there was about 300 fans there on the day down at Claines, and Worcester News were there reporting on it as well. So at the time, that was a very, very big game when I'd only effectively been officiating just over 12 months. So that was the reason I picked that one as well.
No, fantastic. I'll try and make the next few quicker. If I was to appoint you to your next game and I could appoint you to any game in the world, what would be your dream appointment?
Oh, any game in the world?
Any game in the world. I'm going to put you on it. Which one do you want it to be?
World Cup final.
World Cup final. No, it's a good answer. It's a very good answer. It's a goal, isn't it, for everyone? World Cup final, 100%. Next question, a bit of a weird one, and I completely understand if you don't want to answer, but what has been your worst / your sort of your toughest moment as a referee?
Crikey, good question. I'd say it was probably one of my level 4 observations, actually. It was a really tough game. It was an MFL Division 2 game, local derby, and I think it was that final observation before the COVID lockdown. So there was a lot riding on it for me personally, and it was a difficult game. I had 5, 6, possibly 7 cautions, a lot of chat from the players. Not positive chat, let's put it that way, towards me. And it was the first time in quite a long time I came off the pitch feeling very deflated and thought, I kind of messed my chances up effectively. However, it kind of turned out all right in the end. But
yeah, because it worked out okay, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. It did, and the mark was sound. But yeah, just that feeling of coming off feeling really deflated, disappointed, kept thinking through that night, what could I have done better? So yeah, I'll probably pick that one.
No, it's good though, but in one sense that although obviously that was sort of your toughest moment, your toughest game, it still ended up being a positive one, mate, because that observation obviously helped you get your promotion. So it's sort of a two-sided thing. But then following on from that, and probably a bit of an easy one, what is your best moment as a referee? And I know from looking at the photos on the screen, I know you've had many, but what is your best moment or the best feeling you've had as a referee?
It will have been receiving confirmation of the double jump. I remember I was on our back garden at the time and had the email come through, and it was just a kind of that sense of satisfaction that all the hard work that I've put in over those, well, not only those 12 months, but the year prior to that, doing 7 to 6 as well, had kind of come to fruition really. So yeah, I'd say to date that would be my proudest moment.
No, fun. And it obviously came during a period of lockdown, so it was some amazing news in the midst of quite a terrible time.
Yeah. I suppose it was very bittersweet, because obviously I'd achieved that personally, but we were in the midst of a very serious virus, which I was seeing firsthand, as my wife's a nurse, and she'd not long contracted coronavirus before I received that news, and she was quite seriously ill at the time. So yeah, it was very bittersweet, but from a refereeing point of view, it was very, very nice to receive that.
Fantastic. And then the final question, and again, it's kind of a difficult one to answer, but if I or if anyone watching or anyone at home was thinking of doing a referee course or becoming a referee, what one piece of advice, or what would be the best piece of advice that you would give me or you'd give that person?
Well, first of all, I'd say definitely do the course. It made me fall back in love with football again, 100%. My advice would be just enjoy every moment. Take the highs with the lows, work with people around you, and just try and soak up as much information as you possibly can. I'm a sponge in that sense. Some people are very much of the view that you should only take in certain amount of information from different people or sources or whatever, but personally for me, the more feedback that I receive or information that I can get from people, the better. So definitely do the course and enjoy it. Go out there with a smile on your face, because players will pick up on if you're not enjoying the game or if something's not going quite right. Put a smile on your face and just enjoy every moment, because we are a part of, in my opinion, the best game in the world.
No, really, that's a brilliant answer, and it's really interesting to hear from a friend, but to hear from a match official who's in a position where a lot of 7s, 6s, and 5s are aspiring to be, but at the same time you're still on your journey. It's not like you've stopped; you're still progressing, and it's really interesting to hear that from you. Thank you so much for coming on to the first episode of the Officials podcast. I was really, really, really delighted to speak with you, and I was really honoured when you said that you'd come on. Wishing you all the best for next season now, and obviously all the best of your career moving forward. But thank you very much, Mikey. And yeah, thank you very much for listening, guys. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, Harley.